Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the biggest men's recreational tennis podcast in the Triangle Tennis Podcast with me, Zack, and as always, my co-host, Dr. Matthew Hanauer. We have a great show for you today. We got a big get for the guest. But before we get to who that is, I want to talk a little bit about what we're here to do today. The summer singles season is in the books. We are going to recap the Durham 3-5, 4-0, and 4-5 men's leagues. And we're going to get into who the MVPs are, some of the best matches, teams to watch, all that good stuff. But now, let's get to this guest. You might know him as the Greek Freak, the one-hander wonder. That's right. It's Mr. Great Hairline himself. I got to re-record that. It's Mr. Great Hairline himself, Mike Pornaris. Mike, how we doing, man?
Hello. Great. It's nice to finally be on here. I feel like a lot of people have nice things to say about me, whether earned or not. So glad to be here, and got plenty of nice stuff to say about everyone else.
Will you settle this debate once and for all? Is it Mike or Michael? Which do you prefer? Gun to your head.
Mike. As you might learn in this podcast, I have a stutter, so Mike is shorter, therefore easier to say, and I will always prefer nicknames, but some people really don't like them, so it's been tough.
Yeah. So you shared a little bit about you and your background.
Mm-hmm.
For the listeners that aren't familiar with you, that haven't been on the court with you, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Mike P?
Sure. Mike P is, I took on tennis pretty late in life, actually, as an adult. It was in college. So I think a lot of folks that we've heard from, they played at some point in the past, maybe gotten tired of it and came back. This has been my main hobby for a while. I played a bit in Charlotte, played on a really bad team. I moved up here, and it's been an awesome group and an awesome hobby. I moved here in 2016, quickly found out I liked Durham more than Raleigh, and I moved up this way and found Trung, as mentioned on his episode. I think we played maybe the second day I formally lived here.
Wow. Talk about really landing in the middle of things. On your second day, you're on the same court as Trung. Mike, you have one of the prettiest one-handed backhands, a famously pretty shot in the Triangle. Matt, as a fellow one-handed backhand owner, how would we describe Mike's one-hander?
Yeah, it's really smooth. I would say mine's much more mechanical. It's one of the smoothest ones I've seen. I do want to say how disappointed I am that this is an audio-only podcast when you have two of the best hairlines in the Triangle. I think that's a fair statement, and two maybe of the best beards. We have very good beards as well, so it's just a disappointment that this is a audio only
today. Yeah,
I look at those hairlines and I weep internally. I want to wear the headband. You can't wear a headband with this hairline. With those, oh my goodness, feathered and flying as is meant to be. Mike,
go ahead, Zach.
Mike's a headband guy. When did this start?
He is.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of I flip-flop. There's bandanas. I think I want it to work. You see it famously on Roger and others, and it just looks so good, but I feel like it makes me look a bit like a mushroom if my hair's poofing out at the top. But yeah, so I'm actually not a headband guy. I think I'm more of a hat guy. I don't know if you're
more of a hat guy.
Noticed, but anything to keep. You guys seem to think it's nice to have all this hair, but it gets hot, it gets heavy. I want it contained at all times. I don't know. Yeah, I guess the visor would probably be my next choice. But yeah, just anything to keep it out of my eyeballs.
Matt's got the signature visor, but it feels like the visor picked him more than he picked the visor, because with that kind of hairline, like it feels like a crime to hide it. And I want to speak for the entire tennis community. It's an affront when you wear a hat.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like spitting in your face.
I do appreciate
that hairline.
I would say Matt single-handedly changed my outlook on folks that wear visors. Growing up in Charlotte, the crowd could be construed as some would say, but you've been an all-around standout guy, great captain, great player, incredibly frustrating to play against, but very good player. Yeah, so that's been nice to have that opinion turned around a bit.
Yeah, I think I didn't realize this, but I think it's more of a female thing because females have I realized that. Like, I wanted to buy an Indiana visor. I was at the university shop a while back, and I was like, "Hey, where are your visors at?" They're like, "Oh, they're in the women's section."
The
I was
right
like,
is out
"Oh,
the
Oh, that's
sports
interesting.
bras.
yeah, I didn't know that because women have longer hair, so they tend to wear
Mm.
visors more."
Are
Yeah.
visors gendered like across the country, or is that like an Indiana thing? We think that's like a I
I
didn't
think
know.
just more women wear. I think visors are more popular among women. I didn't.
I
know
think
that.
perhaps that, but also I think you got a lot of guys trying to hide the hairline
Yeah.
a little bit, and so the visor. Like, if I wear a visor, I will get just the very itty bitty top of my forehead sunburnt, and I'll just get a little forehead sunburnt line, and that's not good. Whereas with a hat, it'd be good.
Yeah, I would. So if I didn't have a visor, I would switch to the headband.
Mm.
I just think I don't know if I'd have to readjust it all the time. I wouldn't be opposed to trying a headband. Mike, do you want to have a day where we swap, where I wear a headband and you wear a visor?
Sure, as long as you have a fresh one. I'm not gonna
What are you looking at? I
have your
got fresh
sloppy
ones.
seconds.
I got fresh ones everywhere. What do you think? I got
Absolutely,
visors everywhere.
Bring the teal one.
You want the teal visor? Okay, you
wear
got the teal visor.
headwear is a good chance if you're playing doubles. Match it up. Really send some fear into your opponents. If your partner's wearing a black hat, slap one on. Really just make them feel like you're a pair.
This is a perfect segue. So we're talking about headgear, and in summer singles, you have to take your gear a little bit more seriously. It's hot out there. Tell us a little bit about the conditions for y'all's matches this summer. Matt, for you, it's me, Righty Matt and Pickle.
Righty Matt, yeah.
Mike P, for you, it's going to be in the USTA. Like, how were the conditions?
Man, they were just, it was, I don't know if it's because I'm getting old. I don't feel like 35 is a huge hill to cross. But this is the first year where the heat was just like, I used to love it. I was like, someone was like, let's play a match at 2 p.m. I'm like, absolutely. The sun's high, courts are empty, let's go. And this year, despite my reluctance to not play at 6 a.m., I really cannot play midday. Like, it's just so bad. I know some folks go through shirts like mad crazy. I just wear one, suffer, just 60, 90, maybe 120 minutes. But if you're just going to soak another one,
You're a one shirt guy?
I'm a one shirt. Only had chafing issues maybe once.
Matt, are you?
No, I'm 2 or 3 now. Yeah.
2 or 3? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what y'all's laundry days look like, but
it's intense.
One shirt playing 3-4 times a week. It's just like the things add up, and it's the closet is stanky. Let's just say that.
I do 100% of the laundry in the Chakowski Cunningham household because I just generate so much. It would be silly for me not to. Now, you go through the sweatbands a little bit more than the shirts, though. What's like? When do you know it's time to change?
Pretty much every changeover in the summer if they're soaked. But I think as far as gear, is it the liquid chalk? Again, why I do this for an audio only podcast, I don't know. But the liquid chalk tends to be the best out of all the tools in my toolbox for stopping sweat. Liquid chalk tends to be the best. I would highly recommend that.
Yeah.
I guess while we're on the topic and we're plugging stuff, I think from May until about last week, Turn-A-Grip is the only thing that works. I see people use all types of grips, liquid chalk, different things in their pockets, towels.
Yeah.
You just gotta wrap it up light blue 6 months a year. Just it's the only thing. Like switch out after every set if you have to, but there's nothing quite Turn-A-Grip.
The conditions this summer really were brutal. Like it was so hot. I had a couple of matches where it was low or mid 90s when you walk on the court, and by the end of the match it wouldn't be that, but it'd be so humid. And look, as a big fella, the summer singles season is not for the big boys. No, it's not. It is for the marathon runner types. The fall, different story. So we might see some different results. Do y'all, before we get started, have a favorite season?
Go ahead, Mike.
I have to say, I'm going to go ahead and say 7-5 combo. I have not been
7-5.
invited to 8-5, or if I was, maybe I missed it. But it's a great chance to play with folks, friends who've gotten bumped up or something. If you had a good teammate or something, it's an opportunity to play with them. And when I played on Goff's 7-5 team, they're like, "Oh, you're going to be paired up with Billy this week." I'm like, absolutely,
Yeah,
please, every week,
jeez.
sure. Or like Billy or Tyler and all these
Yeah.
people who are just like rock solid. I'm like, yes, just please send me to 7-5. I can make all my errors and it be expected, understood. So,
Mike, do you like 7-5 or do you? I guess you probably don't play anything lower than that. Do you like the situation where you play with someone who's supposed to be better with you, or do you prefer
Oh,
the
yeah.
reverse, where you're the better
Oh,
player?
I like to be the worst player on court, so I'm free to make all the errors I possibly can, and I do. They are abundant, and I think we have a very good 4-0, 4-5 contingent here, and for people that maybe don't have a group like the East End boys that play as often as we do, there's not a lot of opportunities to play with higher rated folks. And yeah, I think it's always been my favorite time of year. It cools off. I guess you can sometimes run, since you're only running 3 lines instead of like in spring, you can play at smaller facilities like that they used to play out at the Y, which has only 4 lit clay courts, but so they can't run a spring team out of there. But in fall Paul is just any opportunity to play on clay, I fully support. So 7-5 seems to bring the country club folks out of the woodwork, and they'll let you play on their sweet courts.
You heard it on TTP. 7-5 brings the country club folks to the clay courts.
Yeah.
Big if
That's
true.
a really good point, because like summer singles is much, even the people who play singles in spring, it's a different crowd that plays summer singles. Like I don't think we had like Hollow Rock. There were a bunch of, like you said, Mike, you nailed on that. There were a bunch of club teams that play spring and fall, but they don't tend to play summer singles. Have you guys noticed that? I've noticed that.
Now that you said it, they're like some teams that have great spring teams don't even field summer singles teams.
Yeah.
And I think also that's where you see a lot of guys that are maybe playing 18 plus in the spring. They might go to 40 plus in the summer. And so I have no basis for that other than just like pure gut.
I would probably agree. But also huge respect to the older folks who come down and play 18 plus singles. I think the shout out here might be Chris Giordano. I think he plays out of Chapel Hill Tennis
Friend of the
Club
pod.
and
Friend of the pod.
as well as anyone I've ever met. And just if I can move half that well when I'm over 40, I'll be absolutely blessed.
Chris Giordano introduced me to a practice style that's new, where you play best of 5 sets, but you play fast 4. And it's a bit of a mind game, because the scoring is totally different. The math is totally different. When to capitalize, when to go for it. It's all a little different, but it's great practice. Shout out to Chris Giordano. With that, let's talk about 3-5 Durham Summer Singles for the fellas. The winner, and you might notice a bit of a trend here, is Team J Bird. In second place, the runner-up is Team Tejas Carva, friend of the East End boys, friend of the pod. Folks, what's the team to watch for next year?
I would say, if I had to make a guess here, I would say Franklin. A shout out to Jeff for making a team for the East End boys. Everyone's getting real good, real fast. I think there'll be a squad to look out for next year. Trying to see who else is on there.
I think who's gonna get bumped this year, because I look at some of these guys like Christopher Green. I expect to get Jeff. I expect to get bumped.
Yeah.
Mike, where are you at? Are you on the list? I'm
Oh,
not sure.
oh yeah, he's a
Man.
3.56 on tennis record. He's a bubble bumper.
So that's
Bubble
okay.
bump.
So you're likely to get bumped.
I will say that 3.56 came out of nowhere. I was like 3.45, and then
Yeah.
2 weeks of not playing any tennis, and I learned I got a little bump, and I was like, I feel like it's unearned, possibly false. Oh,
So I look at
good.
the winning team, right? And so Bakr Yusuf, friend of the pod,
Yeah.
great player, great
Absolute
athlete.
athlete.
He
Athlete,
won.
yeah.
He moved, so I don't think that the
No.
likelihood of him
Oh, he
coming
moved?
back.
I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know that. Oh.
We miss Bakr, but we're happy for him doing big things in New York City.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Good for him.
Nikita is above the line. They're Alpha, Eduardo. Actually, the only person other that's not above the bump line on tennis record is Ben Katz.
Yeah.
The team that won undefeated, but could be a totally different roster next year. That literally the
Yeah.
entire team minus one guy could eventually not get, or could potentially get bumped. So this is going to be a wide open league. I think don't get
Mhm.
discouraged if you're on a team that didn't have a
Yeah.
winning record, or you're thinking about
agree.
getting in. Like, this is every year. This is a wide open at 3-5.
Mhm.
And 3-5, I don't know about y'all. I think that's got the biggest range of players. Like, the difference between somebody who goes 25-0 in 3-5 versus somebody who goes 12-12 is greater than I think you see at 4-0 and 4-5. Do y'all agree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was a guy who I played 2 years ago who was 22-1 and did not get bumped. I do not know how that happened, and it was league play. It was. I mean, he played some
Wow.
tournaments as well. I wish I could remember his
Was
name.
that the John Hereford of 3-5 Durham League
Oh,
play?
yeah.
I think so. And I don't know, man. I haven't seen John on tournament rosters either. I think we might have scared him away.
Yeah.
So
There's a guy who I'm not familiar with, Eduardo Schlotterhausen, 46-4. That's a hell of a
absolute
season.
lefty blaster,
Oh, wow.
man. Yeah. No, is he lefty?
Oh,
I
Ed.
don't know,
Oh,
actually.
yeah. I know Ed.
Is
Ed's
he
a
lefty?
Oh, yeah. Ed's a good dude.
Lefty. Either way,
46
No, he's a
and
righty.
4.
He's a righty.
slings forehands.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's a funny dude. I've played with him quite a few times. Really solid. I think he's newer to the area, and I think he actually, I think I'm correct on this, he appealed down. He was a 4-0, but then he appealed down to 3-5. But he was probably going to get bumped right back up. But Ed's a great dude. If you ever get a chance to hit with him, do it.
Yeah.
Very funny. Fun guy to hit with.
Absolutely.
There's another team where there's a few folks I want to highlight, folks. So on Team Tejas, James Shapp, relatively recent parent, young guy, one of the fastest players that you'll see on the courts. Right now, his dynamic rating is a 3.33. I think as he is able to increase his court time as he gets the parenting thing down, I think that he's somebody who's going to be a problem at 3-5 next year.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the folks that y'all are watching out for in 2025 Summer Singles?
I'm gonna go ahead and say Brent as well. His serve's been slinging lately.
Oh yeah,
it's like weird, heavy. Like you think you can hit it, and then it's past you. I recently played Bong Sang Cho at States. Absolute clinician of just like steady play, smart play, never angry, not really happy either. Just like no
stoic
emotions. Has these. I feel like he's got some squash or badminton or something in that belt as well, because the way he moves side to side in the back of the court, I could not get an overhead past him. Lost a big one at States against a great player. Yeah,
he is now.
He
was playing on some other teams, but he is now a friend of the EBB. So he's on one of. He requested to be on one of Spencer and I's teams for carry. So I think he will be on the right side of the net with you, Mike, in the future. So I don't think you'll have to worry about that. Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to see him play. I'm hoping to. He's on one of our carry teams, and so hopefully I'll get a chance to get out there and see him.
Oh yeah. One team that I want to shout out as well, Team Moffitt. I texted Chris to say, hey, any highlights to speak of? And he had the one that is a universal highlight. The highlight is, I didn't throw up playing in July. And you know what, Chris Moffitt? That is impressive, because there were a few matches there for me where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the end of this. I might power boot here. And if you made it through Summer Singles without getting sick, that is a win. Also, a couple guys in his team, Ari Farber, excellent player on the ascent, young guy, moves, good serve, all that. And then another guy on Team Moffitt that I want to highlight, Dash. He is a fantastic player. He moves very well. He went 8-9 in 2024 so far, 2-2 in summer singles. He is somebody I wouldn't be shocked to see going 5-1, 5-0 next year because he can play.
I think he's underrated. I think he's pretty heavily underrated at 326.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys who's probably going to be a lifer at 3.5, but he's like a guy that you can get on your team and you're like, okay, this guy's going to give me solid results, and he's going to give me wins 60, 75% of the time and not going to get bumped. So he's like someone you can count on. Whereas if you're getting these guys who get bumped, you have that turnover. So he's a guy that I think you want to have on your team if you want someone who's going to be there year after year.
Speaking of guys that you want to have on your team, if you were moneyballing, captaining a 3-5 team, give me a player that you would want to build that team around. And this is somebody you're not just thinking about their on the court abilities, you're thinking about them as a culture guy. Who do you build around?
As a captain or as a player?
So in this scenario, you be the captain, they be a player, but their recruiting abilities can factor in.
Oh, in that case, Ed, man. Ed, until he gets inevitably bumped back up, Ed has he's got a network. He's got access to a pretty deep network of good players, and he's also a good captain. And I think it's been mentioned in the past. I think that's as much of a skill as playing itself.
Totally.
I'll also say a quick shout out. I think he got bumped up actually in mid-seasons. I'm just learning this now, but David Ninon, who is a friend. I think he's an East End boy. But
he is. Yep, I just hit with him.
The vibes are immaculate. Super positive guy, a nice guy. You cannot leave the court even after he womps on. You cannot leave happy and smiling.
Whenever I see the name David Ninon, I immediately think of Xenon 2020 from the Disney Channel, and every time I see him, I'm like, it makes me so happy to see you because I think I like this like childhood movie that was so good and so funny, but also I'm sure he's heard a million jokes about having a name that sounds like Xenon.
I play not a lot. I've played several. I play righty matches with him every once in a while because he plays lefty. Yeah. We've played 3 or 4 times. We never finish because we play in the morning, and we usually play for an hour and a half, and that's never enough time. But it's always super close. So yeah, super. If you need any tips on electric cars, he's the guy to go to. He used to work at Tesla, and he works at GM, and he works on the batteries.
He works at Ford, I think.
Ford? Is it Ford? Okay.
Yeah.
One of the bigger companies and auto companies, and knows a lot about electric vehicles. So I talked to him a lot before I bought my Leaf.
Oh, good call. That is the hookup. One person we have not mentioned yet who I would absolutely build a 3-5 team around is Skeet Surrency. He is criminally underrated. He also is a fantastic culture guy. And speaking of like great networks of somebody that can recruit, I think a lot of players know Skeet, like Skeet, and would be happy to play on his team. And so I think that would be a great person to build a 3-5 team around.
Yep, I agree.
Also, like yourselves, the one-hander. Just one-handers abound.
Right.
What's up with that? There's so many friggin' one-handers at 3-5 and up in the triangle. How did this happen? Do you guys not know? You can put your other hand on it. You're allowed to.
I know. I think when you see the sharp decrease in one-handers at 4-0 and even less at 4-5, I think that might be the weakness of the stroke showing itself a bit. But man, if you've never hit one, it's so much more fun. It's like skiing versus snow.
More fun.
Two people? Oh, absolutely not. About Xenon. So you're obviously on the Disney Channel as a kid.
I remember Johnny Tsunami.
Oh yeah, and you left that movie saying skiing is more fun.
I looked at Johnny Tsunami and I said, why doesn't he just follow the rules? Like, why is he causing these disruptions? Like, I was completely on the side of the skiers and Johnny's.
This media outrage throws on challengers into the suspect category.
Do we think there's a correlation between skiers and two-handed backhands versus one-handed backhands and snowboarding?
I would break that because I ski, but I have a one-handed backhand.
Oh man!
We already have a data point in the other way.
We've got the whole spectrum covered here. Because I ski and have a two-hander. Mike, I'm willing to bet that you're a Johnny Tsunami snowboarder.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. What a special moment that we get to share together. And with that, get the plugs. Matt, actually, Mike, what'd you bring today? What are you plugging?
I'm going to plug the Banana Open, particularly the one in Charlotte. I believe it's a
Wait, there's
network
multiple
one.
Banana Opens?
Oh yeah, there's one in Asheville. I believe
Oh.
there's one in I don't know if Carolina thing or an East Coast thing, but let me I'll check future. But the one in Charlotte is just such a well executed tournament. It's usually the first week of April. It's at Old Providence Racket Club. They have maybe 30 clay courts, so like the draws are all stacked. The
Red clay?
tournament's moving though.
Nice.
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
That would dry out. That would dry out in 3 minutes flat. No, so green clay in Charlotte, the draws are always full. The tournament is run super well. Best clay courts I've played on from a quality standpoint. They're free pouring good beers the whole weekend.
Timing.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's just a great tournament. Charlotte's not too far away from the Triangle or Winston or wherever you might live. It's not quite as, I'd say, fun and raucous as the tournament in Wilmington, but I think from a tennis standpoint, you just can't beat full draws in the spring on clay. Yeah, man, I've seen some East End folks out there.
Barry
before
Gooch, I think, had a nice little run. Yeah,
and I've seen Kevin out there. I think a couple other folks before I knew them as well as I do now, but just like looking back, I've definitely seen some. Daniel was out there last year, and I have text proof of this. You said if I won this year, you would play the following year. Zack, I did win. I have that text saved as an image, and I texted it to my wife as well for safe storage.
Just in case something happened to it.
Yes, I know you spent a bit of time dumping on Charlotte, but you are obligated legally to play there this coming April. So
I'm going to take it a step further.
Any crazy trips to Berlin or Rome or wherever you go. Just don't do it. Make it. Some say Charlotte is the Berlin of North Carolina. So
I think you get it backwards. A lot of people call Berlin the Charlotte of Europe, but I will say, yes, health permitting, I am committed to playing. I'd like to go a step further. Matthew, would you care to play doubles with me in the Banana Open?
When is it?
Sometime in April, early April.
Oh yeah, that seems likely. Yeah.
I feel like we could do some damage on clay.
Yeah, that seems like I'll be ready. Yeah.
I straight up don't like Charlotte. So it's not like I'll be going out and doing fun stuff because there's nothing fun really to do in Charlotte unless you're into NASCAR, which I'm not.
Spoken like someone who grew up in the Triangle.
Look, if we're ranking regions in the state of North Carolina, the Triangle is so respectfully vastly superior in every single way to Charlotte. The only thing that Charlotte has in the Triangle is 2 pro sporting teams, basketball and football, that we don't have. And they're
not
terrible.
A minor thing. Yeah, sure. But
yeah, if they were good, it'd be like, okay, they are good. They're not good. They're terrible. It's not even going to be our decade in football or basketball for that matter.
Charlotte almost had a Masters tennis tournament, which would have been objectively awesome.
Yeah, I almost
we have
basketball.
James K. Polk Memorial, which is an electric day if you want to learn about our president's history. But yeah, the tournament itself is in a great spot. I encourage everyone to come. The more hardware we can bring back to the Triangle, the better.
Charlotte bias aside, it is a well-run tournament. It's a ton of clay courts. I'm in. Matt, hopefully we can team up for some doubles.
Yeah.
That's a great plug. It's a great plug.
Matt, again, audio only, but it looks like he might be. He looks like he might have a gun to his head. That was a very sheepish. Yeah.
That would be so much fun.
I would love to play doubles with anyone left-handed.
Blink thrice if you need help.
Anytime anyone asks me to play left-handed, I just am afraid to give an answer. Yeah. April seems like enough time. Good God, if I'm not ready.
I feel like let this be a beacon of hope. Something to aspire to. Yeah.
And if you're not, we're going to pump you so full of drugs and steroids, you won't even know otherwise.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of doctors in the group.
Yeah. Someone give me a cortisone shot at that point and I'll be fine.
or 2
Last week,
or 3.
I said if a doctor in the group could fix my ankle, I would be their Frankenstein. Or I guess
Yeah.
they would be the Dr. Frankenstein and I would be the subject. Would you give that same offer to an unscrupulous doctor in the group? They're going to fix you, but they
what
get
else
to
it do to me?
I don't know.
I don't know if that's worth it.
I feel like
Probably
I feel
steroids as like that's the floor. The floor is a lot of steroids.
I feel like we have a good group of doctors that are bound by their oaths and their
Yeah.
care for people.
You're right, Mike. We need a disgraced veterinarian. If anybody knows a good disgraced veterinarian, Matt and I are in the market to fix our bodies with modern technology.
Yeah, I think if they wanted to pump me full of steroids, that might be okay. But I don't know what else they're gonna do. Like they're gonna take an ear or something. I don't know.
What do you need? You need both ears?
Yeah.
Like one. How do you define take an ear? If they just take the floppy thing on the outside, I'm
Toss
pretty
in
sure
a
you don't
jar?
even need
Like,
that.
what do they
Yeah.
want it for?
Or the earlobe.
Yeah,
maybe?
you really
they
you
could
need
have
what's in
that.
your ear, not what's
That's
external,
true.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We might need a doctor to fact check us. This might be out of Max's purview at this point.
Yeah.
The legality of it, though.
We do need Max to fact check your contract for sure with Mike P. As you said, it was legally
legally
binding.
binding.
So we'll have to have.
I don't think we need any kind of review. I think it's set. I think it's set in stone, set in aluminum on an iPhone.
Moving things along. My plug, and it's been too long since this has been my plug. Send us your Swing Vision clips or clips of yourself playing tennis. Director of Marketing Daniel Marchek, working hard, crushing it, helping us get some buzz on the old interwebs. We need content. Matt, at the moment, is unable to play. I am also more or less out of it. I'm starting to play doubles again, but I'm moving slow still. That's true. But you're not playing lefty still.
No.
And you're not recording yourself playing righty, which maybe we could work something out.
You know what we did? I forgot to tell Mark because we did establish that Swing Vision does pickleball, and I was just pickling with Mark. And hopefully next time we go out there, we might get Daniel some pickleball footage to work with.
Then I will say, start recording yourself righty and pickling to the listeners. Just record yourself playing anything with a racket. Send it. If it's a good clip, send it our way. You might go viral abroad. You never know. And with that, Matt, what's your plug today?
Hope Valley YMCA, where I often see Mike playing. Are you a member there, Mike, or are you just a fellow?
I was in the past.
Yeah.
We luckily have folks that are members out there that are eager to have buds out there to hit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've been a member since 4 or 5 months. It's really great. It's not Hollow Rock or Chapel Hill clay, but the clay is solid. The lighting isn't as great, but it's $60 a month, $50 initiation fee. It's pretty easy to reserve courts. I've always gotten a court when I want it.
Oh, that's a great deal. That's a great deal.
Yeah, if you're club curious,
and you have access to any Y in the nation as well. So if you have kids, there's summer camps. Like it's a Y membership plus access to pretty decent clay courts. The lights and the clay are better and than they were in the years past. They've made some improvements, I think.
Does that extend to territories or just U.S. states?
Everywhere.
This hinges on whether I can play in Guam. If there's a YMCA in Guam that I get access to, then okay.
I'm sure there is, but you might need a military clearance to get to it.
I don't think I'm getting that anytime soon.
But if you're someone who's on a wait list for a club, there's not a huge initiation fee. It's $50 or something. Yeah. So it's a good way. Or if you're club curious and you don't want to drop $8,000 to $5,000, like it's a good way to get a feel for it. Yeah, like it's okay. It's nice to reserve courts. I like hitting on clay, and then you can work your way through it if you want.
Now,
or if you're a member at the Y and didn't know that you also have access to the Valley Y,
that's true.
Go check it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Matt, I think that you had a bonus plug for us today. Something that is going to change lives. Something that's a lot of fun. What is it?
My video game I wanted to plug?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Drop some knowledge on us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we've been playing this game. There's nothing to do with tennis, but it's called Cult of the Lamb. I'm going to link this back to East End because East End is a bit of a cult.
Sure.
It's very similar. Yeah, it's a bit of a cult. So you are a lamb who is about to be sacrificed in front of these gods. So they kill you, and then this other god takes you and says, "Hey, fuck those gods. You're gonna come with me." And you're a cute little lamb. And he says, "If you gather followers and get them and murder all these other gods, I'll bring you back to life." And you're this cute little lamb going around. You're building followers, and you have your temples, and you sacrifice them, you marry them. It gets pretty wild. You got to clean up their shit because they shit everywhere.
The other lambs, the cult lambs.
The cult lambs, yeah. You get them in your cult, and you build your cult. Very fun. It's co-op if you're looking for a game to play with your spouse. You can play it together. It's very easy to get into. It's button mashing. It's quite fun if you're looking for something to do real quick.
So what platform? Is this PC or is this
everything?
Console?
Everything. It's on everything.
Phone?
Maybe not phone, but it's on
Probably
like
the
Steam.
least likely, yeah.
Yeah, every other like Steam, PS4, 5, whatever it is you have. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities. We go to the East End Park and give our tributes and things like that. So a lot of similarities to what we have.
Wait,
here.
so when you build a cult in this game, have you named various like cult iconography stuff after East End?
I should have. Oh man, I will when I build some more. I'll name them. The Mike P Garden or something.
I love it. It's got to have like good tree cover. The Mike P Garden.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of olive trees or bushes.
yeah.
Are they bushes? I don't know, man. This makes me sound like a horrible Greek person.
Oh god.
I'm pretty sure they're trees. I'm pretty sure they're trees.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it rolling. We got to get back to it because we're going to be way over otherwise. So let's talk about 4-0. The winner, Team Jaybird, won. The runner-up, S Bible. Team Jaybird went 7-0. S Bible went 6-1. Friend of the pod, Stuart, been on the pod, put together a hell of a team. Couldn't quite get there. This was a really good league, though. And I was going through the player roster for top to bottom. The amount of 4-0s that aren't really 4-0s in this league was nuts. This might have been the best 4-0 summer single season that I've seen in my time.
This is 4-5 junior.
4-5 junior. That's funny.
Who's the person that you would least want to get a matchup with in this league?
In the summer. Dan Gallo in the summer. Maybe in the winter or the fall, I would feel better, but I think even in my prime in the summer, I don't know if I could have gotten him this summer. It was so hot, and the guy just gets everything back, and he's in such good shape.
I think it's a toss-up for me. So both Kwame Owens and Andrew Lopez, like those guys are just so good. They're so like they can hang with any 4-5 in the triangle.
Yeah,
I think Kwame went 51-10 so far on the year, and Andrew is 18-2. So like their record reflects it. I think I would rather play. I don't know, man. They're both just great players. Like it's a really deep league this year.
Let me put it like this. You have an 8-person roster. Jaron and Visakin are number 6 and 7.
Outrageous.
On a 4-0 singles team. Come on. That is a scary team.
Yeah. On Team Bible, just want to point out that Billy Clark went 3-0. He is another person that I consider an absolute bump block. Just shouldn't be at 4-0 anymore. He's too good. He's too tall. He plays too tall.
He's too tall.
Straight up. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a victim. We played at the farm. This was our team. I played Billy, Christopher played Aubrey, and Evan played. Oh man, I wish I had this information in front of me. Let's see here. I can't quite remember, but we were playing with hardcourt balls on hot clay, and Billy's kick serves were like, I don't think I hit a single one under my head, which I'm 6 feet tall, and it was literally all night as a one-hander. It was pretty much torture. Yeah, really great server. I wouldn't want to play him again, and I've never played Kwame. I've seen him once, and I've just heard enough about him to know that I don't want any part of that.
I've never played him in singles. I've played him a lot in doubles, and he's very good. And I know he's a strong singles player as well too. I don't think I've ever seen him play singles. I'm trying to see I haven't seen his record here. I would assume it's very good at singles. I've just only seen him play doubles.
I just want to talk about the playoffs. So this year, the way that I believe it was settled was with the playoff match. Team Bird defeated Team Bible 2-1. It came down to the wire. A player who I'm not familiar with, Cameron Crump, beat a player who we all are, I think, are familiar with, Raymond Zoo. In check this out, he won 7-5, 6-7, and then won in the third set tiebreaker. That was an unbelievable match. That's as high stakes as it gets in recreational tennis. Yeah. And a huge shout out to Cameron Crump. I think that's got to make him the MVP of 4-0. He also went 5-1 in the league, and that's a tough one for Raymond, who I think everybody loves and is a great player himself.
Yeah, that sounds like a huge cinch, man. Yeah.
If he's the guy I'm thinking of, I think I've seen him play, and like I remember watching him warm up. He is one of the worst warmer uppers. He looks terrible. He looks like a 3-5 when he warms up, but then he actually plays and he hits this. If it's the right guy, he hits a huge forehand. I might be getting him mixed up, but he just crushes his forehand and actually is a solid game. But he just looks like garbage when he warms up. But he is a very good player once he gets warmed up.
Oh, yeah. Man, there's a few of those guys floating around where they don't look that exciting in warm-ups, and then you get to the match play, and you're like, what the hell? John Hereford being like, I thought I was going to work him. I couldn't believe his record was what it was during warm-ups, and then the match started, and all of a sudden I'd lost the first set. So before we started recording, Mike, you touched on something, which is like the who is captaining is evolving, is changing in the triangle. Will you talk a little bit about 4-0 and what's changed over the last couple of years here?
Yeah, it's been I feel like for a long time I'd played mostly 3-5, but the staples were Moffitt, Ryan Goff, and Jay Bird always ran teams. Occasionally there would be another. I can't quite remember. But it was, I feel ratings, I don't know if they stagnated or maybe they just weren't aggressively bumping folks up, but it seemed like you'd play the same folks every year. And this year, people got bumped up. Last year, some folks got bumped up twice. Shout out to Jackson. But yeah, this year, particularly from the East End crew, when you have 40 people that want to play league tennis at some level, you have to split them up and make new teams. And just, I feel like the captains list has some new dimension. 3-5, but in 4-0, Stewart fell on the sword and was a captain in 4-0. Jay Bird had two teams. I guess if you have enough good players. Michael Young was our captain. He's always a solid person to have up there leading a team. But Ryan Goff, for instance, a staple, didn't run a 4-0 singles team or a 3-5 team. This year, they'd famously messed around with the scheduling, and I think a lot of folks, between the scheduling change, starting a weekend play again, and people getting bumped up, to not have a Goff team seems absolutely insane to me, considering I was on his 3-5 team. We were usually states competitive.
Yeah.
Didn't always cinch it, but I've seen a couple of his players, like I ended up on Michael Young's team. Stuart Bible's team had Al and Billy and Tyler, who were all Goff staples. So it's just been cool to see. I think it shows the willingness just to play, and I think it shows two very different kind of captaining styles. And you have people like Jermaine who are always captaining teams, and you can see you can almost rise through the ranks from 3-0 to 4-0 under the same captain. That's certainly a unique way to have a recreational career. But I think it's cool that folks like us are willing to just play on, really, for me, any team that'll have me. But I think you got folks who play together enough that it's like you hear through the grapevine that someone's looking to play, and you can have a team of either people you've played against or friends from old teams, and you can be signed up and on a team in 12 hours.
Oh yeah.
It's just really cool. I think it's just, it's a really cool mix up. And the fact that you can get random folks and still throw together a super competitive team, it's not at the cost of quality. All the teams in 4-0 were great.
Yeah, huge shout out to all the captains. I think our big thing is we want anyone who wants to play to be able to play, to have a spot, right? And the only way you can do that is when you have a whole lot of captains. So to Anderson, Bible, Bird, Young, Zhao, thank y'all for captaining at 4-0 and 3-5. Bird, Holston, Carva, Moffitt, Franklin, Langens, Montague, Verdier. They're the folks that make the world go round. Matt, thank you as a longtime frequent captain. It's
and not playing a fucking match.
And the coach captains as well.
Yeah, do captains get extra points if they don't play a match, Matt?
I played one match the whole season and captained like 15. I did have I got a shout out to co-captains, like Mike was saying. Spencer was my co-captain, but yeah, that's a lot of teams to captain and not play a single match.
It is a community service. It is a civic good to captain these teams. There are massive benefits to adults participating in recreational sports. And without DPR, without Inacta, without these captains, we wouldn't be able to do it. So yeah, they make the world go round and shout them out. Mike, I think I cut you off. Forgive me.
Were you saying something about co-captains? Because I think we should.
Yeah, I was like, what do you think the main duty of a co-captain is? Do you have to have one? Do you have to assign one, or is it just like an optional?
No, it's not mandatory, but it's very helpful.
Because I've seen a lot.
It's tough. If you just do one team, it's not a big deal. It's always nice. But if you're captaining multiple teams, you'll forget. Or sometimes matches are on the same night. Like Raleigh and Cary have matches on the same night. So you might have to coordinate with other people. And you just, for example, there was a match we were rescheduling and I never got an email about the lineups and we just forgot. Or little things like that. It's very helpful to have a co-captain, but it's not mandatory. But if you can get one, it's helpful.
How do you feel about the role of the hype man? Should there be a formalized role for hype people?
I think there should be, because I'm not good at that. So you're very good at that, Zach. And after a season ends, I'm like, good job, thanks guys, and that's it. Or like after a big match, I'm like, good job guys. I have no hype at all.
I think that the key to being a good hype person is you just have to be like you have to let yourself be completely and totally delusional. Let's be real. There are matches that we all have gone into knowing full we are more likely than not to lose those matches. But does it help you win if you think you're not going to win? No. So you got to lie to yourself and your friends a little bit and be like, we're going to go in there and we're going to fuck shit up. We're going to crush it. We're going to bring our A games. We're going to get it done. Yeah. And then, you lose 2 and 3 and you say, we gave it our best go. Let's have a beer. And that's the role of the hype man, I think.
I will say the East End group in particular, whichever team you're on, it's just been great you hear about other matches. People come out and watch, even if they're not on that team, if they're not playing. It's just cool to have a group of folks. I went and watched a 7-5 match I was not in, and we ended up having a crowd of maybe 8 or 9 folks outside of the court.
Big crowd
while watching, and I personally had some seltzers and I had a great time. A little bit of spiked seltzer action, but like it was a hot night at Elmira and I could have been anywhere else, but I had a great time. And I don't know if I would have done that. Definitely not on my Charlotte team, not on my Raleigh team, but the Goff squad got me into hanging out after. And there are teams that hit and quit, and I feel like that's if you have a life to get home to, go ahead. But hanging out and watching your team or talking about other matches, I feel like talking to Tyler and Westlander and stuff, like they're in 500 leagues that play 500 matches a year. I feel like there's always something to hear about, and it's just, I think it really makes it feel more like a group of friends than just a team that you play on. And there's a lot of folks that don't experience that, and when they do, like they don't know it's an option. Or other people from teams that we beat and carry, you'll see them lingering after and, do you want to come over and have a beer and watch the rest of us? And they're like, yeah, absolutely, thank you. I'm like, no, thank you. Let's get over here, crack a drink and hang out. And if you're going to go to states, you're there. And I don't know, the states I went to was in Charlotte, but you have to spend time with these folks. And if you're in Goldsboro for a weekend, odds are you're not playing tennis the whole time, and I think it's easier to have fun with folks that you're friends with outside of the court or beyond just playing with.
I also, I don't know about you guys, I love a friendly rivalry. Like I love like when you become buds with somebody from another team and they want to beat you and you want to beat them, and in the match you're going to be playing as hard as you can, and then afterwards you crack a joke or two, have a beer, give each other a little bit of peer-to-peer feedback. To me, that's like the absolute best, one of the best things about rec tennis.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever had that.
A little friendly rivalry?
Maybe in high school, not since I've been here.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think it's just high school. It wasn't really a rivalry. Like they beat us every time. I don't think that counts as a rivalry. You have to win.
Yeah.
You have to win once in a while.
Yeah, there's someone I think I'd
I
like to be a rival, and we never
Yeah.
beat him, so it's really not.
That was like a
rivalry.
one-sided rivalry.
I know for a
I'm in one of
fact
those currently. I think you both know. Yeah.
There's
yeah.
people you've beat in the past, Matt, that I'm sure would love a second crack at you.
Oh yeah, they're all gonna get it when I come back because that's I'm gonna have to work my way back up. I'm gonna have to like guys I used to beat pretty handily. It's not gonna happen. And you guys have all gotten so much better. I don't think I've seen a season like I've been playing 3 or 4 seasons now. I've never seen a season with so much improvement. Guys have just gotten so much better this year.
People will give it back over the winter. They always do. Also, great example of this. So Josh Collins, I'm on his hit list, and I take great pride in being on his hit list, and I hope to remain on that hit list indefinitely, maybe permanently. And like I know he wants to beat me. I want to beat him too, but also I really enjoy Josh Collins.
Josh Collins is one.
Yeah.
I'll put that's a good example. Yeah.
Like his teams always beat my teams, but like I've won matches against him. Like it's competitive, but there's no. It's just good, clean, wholesome fun.
That's a really good example.
Do you, Mike P, have a friendly rival, somebody that you really want to beat, but you think of as a bud?
There's people who I feel like I'd have to go back and look at. There's the official USTA record,
right?
Which folks, I don't think I've ever beat Alpic, for instance, or Christopher Green officially, but we've played enough where I think I've taken sets or friendlies. But yeah, I think it's just that's my rivalry comfort zone is the friendly stuff. I think this is the first year I was a little less compelled to have my official record kind of state that I've beat someone. Like it got competitive last year and probably not in a healthy way. I was actually telling Zack earlier, I think I only played 18 matches this year. Last year I think I had 40, maybe 41.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I was so obsessed with having tennis records say that I beat someone instead of just knowing that I beat them like in a friendly match. And so I'm personally trying to stay away from official rivalries because I usually come out on the bottom of those.
It's really tough to keep that balance between wanting to win and having fun on a court. And I think everybody at some point in time goes too far in each direction. It's tough, but that's why it's so important to have buds who like you're not just a guy that you hit with who can say to you like, hey man, take it down a notch. Hey, it's okay to try hard. Like whatever it is, whatever direction you've gone too far in, you got to have those buds to bring you back. So that community is important.
Getting hurt helps take that down a notch.
How excited are you going to be back on the court, Matt?
Left-handed. Because I can play pickleball left-handed. I was telling people, like, if you give me a choice, pickleball left-handed or tennis right-handed, I'm never going to play tennis again. I just love being able to play not hurt or with your correct hand it's so nice.
Yeah.
So it's just huge. And then just being able to get out there and play left-handed will be great. So yeah, sometimes getting hurt helps set your mind too.
You know what else helps set your mind, guys?
No.
A Banana Open in April.
That and America's Game, the game that has swept the nation and is now going international. Guess that triangle tennis player.
I was like, pickleball? Baseball?
Bro.
What are you talking about?
Pickleball's coming for you. When are we going to get you out there, Zach?
All right, let's play this game.
Oh, okay.
Matt, Mike B, we're gonna institute something new per listener feedback. We are gonna have a 30-second clock running. Pressure. Mike. Yes.
Oh, I do great with
that's right.
With
so I'm
as just stated.
30 seconds. When Matt is done
rivalry
with the prompt,
speech,
it's going.
Okay.
Take it away, Matt.
All right. Big forehand. I would say he's been a legendary 3-5. He's been a 3-5 since I've been in the game. He also
Michael
has all the gear, like knee braces, everything. He has all the gear with him all the time. Like gear to help support him because he's a little on the older end of the spectrum of the EBB ad.
And your clock begins now.
In 3-5.
Yeah. Big forehand, big game all around, big serve too.
20
He's
seconds
been there
left.
the whole time. He has lots of gear, not gear like tennis gear, like gear because he's elder. Oh God, he's gonna kill me for that. I'm not cutting it. I'm not cutting it.
He's a 4-0. I'm fairly stumped here.
You are out of time. You have one
Damn.
final
Wow.
guess, Mike. You are out of time. Who is it?
I was gonna say big forehand, wears braces. I was gonna say Eric Chen, but then you said big serve, and I was like, probably not Eric Chen.
Yeah, it's not him.
Who you got,
Who
Matt?
is it?
Barry Gooch.
Oh,
A fellow
Yeah.
Banana Open participant, Mike. My
Yeah.
goodness, come on. Ugh.
Yeah.
Feel-
Oh
feel
man.
awful.
Yeah.
You should.
I'm the
He
one who
doesn't-
called
he
him an
doesn't-
elderly man. So
he doesn't play like he's braced up.
he does. He always has his knee braces on and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got
Uh,
time for one more, maybe two
Okay.
more, if you guess right.
Okay, so a new one. This is a newer member of the EBB. He's been out at East End, I think almost every Saturday since he's been here. A rising 3-5.
As in, is
He's self-rated, and I expect him to get into the 4-0 scene in the near future.
Is he on the younger side?
Yes, he is on the younger
got to
side.
be either Nikhil or Martin.
Yep, you got it, Nikhil.
Which one is it?
Nikhil.
Dude, I played him last week. I've never missed so many forehands up at net. Like you see them and then they dip. Just dip. They're consistently 8 inches lower than you think it'll be. And it was driving me absolutely insane. Great player.
Yeah.
Great guy as well.
Yeah, he's really gotten super involved. I love to see new guys because sometimes people can be a little timid. They don't know the group, but I love just when guys just dive in and are like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go all in. I'm gonna go to wing night and all the different things. I'm gonna have a great
He will
time."
also laugh at all your jokes. So you need that in your life, which I've learned. I think I do. Great person to hang
It's a
with.
great quality to
Nikhil
have.
has also been quick to say that I believe Michigan originally, prior to coming to North Carolina. And he's listened, like the tennis season here, it's just different because you can play 10, 11, maybe if you really want to push it, 12 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And it's my understanding in states like Michigan, that's really not on the table. And so I think we're very lucky to live in the tennis mecca, but also to have pretty good weather for the most part.
That's huge. Yeah, Indiana, you're playing indoors and it gets pricey.
It's harder to play in July here than it is in January. That's for sure. All right. We got Matt. I think we got time for
one more.
Give
I've
me a
got one
state.
more.
Yeah, let's get wild.
Okay, I think this person, along with, it's not Mike Westlander, so I'm just going to say it. Along with Mike Westlander, this person gets the most improved award for the season. And then he is a longer fella. He's taller. He also has some nice hair.
Big poofy hair.
And the
Most
clock has
improved.
started.
3-5, if that helps.
I'm gonna have to go with Ari.
That's right.
Is it Ari? Yeah.
That is right.
Again,
Yeah.
Good guessing.
Yeah, dude. It's people who pass me all night, all day, up a net.
Yeah.
Occupy a very central place in my mind, and yeah, him and Nikhil are both just absolutely slamming ground strokes these days. Ari makes it look particularly easy as well. So yeah, a great game, and I've seen him. I think he plays more tournaments than the average.
Yeah.
East Ender as well. So I feel like I see him out there a lot. So
Very cool.
nice.
Well done.
2-1.
Good job.
Thank you.
If you were a baseball player, you'd be like the best baseball player of all time. All right, with that, let's get to the 4-5 results here. Again, noticing a trend. The team that won was team Bird number 1, 8-0. The runner-up was team Benson at 5-3. Matt, your team, the team that I was on, we had a pretty good season, all things considered. I know we went 3-5, but we got some good matches in. And I'm going to go ahead and say I think that we're one to watch. What'd you think?
Yes. How'd we were 3-5?
It was a very good 3-5. Actually, it's probably the best 3-5 that I've ever been a part of. Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, unquestionably the best 3-5 that I've been a part of.
Trying to think, we did have some good matches. I'm getting this. I'm trying to separate this from 5-0.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the
We
different
didn't have
matches.
any good matches in
What
5-0.
a
There's
luxury
nothing
to have.
so of the leagues 3-5, there's a according to tennis record, a 0.44 gap between top team and bottom team, or sorry, 0.44 on tennis record. Then when you look at 4-0, it's only a 0.38. So in theory, it should be a more even, more competitive league. At 4-5, it's only a 0.31 delta between the first team and the last one. And so in theory, this should have been the most competitive league. I think minus the team at the top, it was very competitive. They're just in a cut above. The guys in that team, they're just too good. Let's go through the roster on some of these guys on Team Bird. There's just so many good players.
Oh yeah, James Reese, really good.
Oh my God,
I remember playing him when I think I was playing him close to when I was playing really well, and that was like when I was making my run at 4-0, and I think we just played a set, and it was like 6-2, and I was down 3-0, and I was like, I think I'm good.
Yeah, so Brett Eccles is there are 5 guys above Brett according to tennis record. That's out Brett's outrageous. He's an excellent tennis player. Akihiro, Purdue. Yeah. I have not played Ngoni yet, but I've heard just an unbelievable player as well, and his record is 16-2, so that would certainly back it up. 2 at 4-5. James Reese, 14-0 at 4-5.
Probably get bumped.
Wow. Yeah. Ballers.
Yeah. Ryan Lewis is really good too. He actually has the same injury as me. He is the most grindiest grinder of all grinders ever to live. He's one guy I can't outgrind, and I don't know what to do. He is a soccer player, so he's in great shape, just gets everything back, and it is very difficult to play.
Yeah. I look at our team, like Spencer Llewellyn, great player. Ryan Seiko, great player. Anil, awesome. Jackson, Matt Anderson, Rob Byer, Luke Sanchez. I would just say, and again, I know I'm a little biased because I was on the team. I do think this is one to watch because I don't think a single person from this team is getting bumped.
That's true.
Basically, everybody on the team is improving at a meaningful clip. You're going to be back next year. I think this team has some juice. I think perhaps if we combine with Team Bible or some of the folks on Team Bible, dare I say the makings of a super team right there. Dare I say. That's probably not true. But you got to have super players to be a super team. Super fun team.
We have super great guys. We were going to have the super great guy team, and they're going to be the best, coolest dudes in the triangle.
They should have estates for just being like cool and hanging out.
Yeah, being cool dudes. We would absolutely win that every time.
Okay, if they had a runner-up state, I would totally go. I would totally go. I'd
like
totally
a losers
go.
Bracket, like just for guys who are like, hey, you want to go and hang out for the weekend and play some tennis? Sure.
If they did a consolation bracket for states, that would be actually. They could probably make a lot of money off that.
I bet a lot of guys would go just to be a weekend to hang with the dudes. Yeah, I'll do that.
You'd also get a decent amount that would it's like just like in tournaments, some guys they pull out rather than play the consolation matches. So scheduling, availability, it would be very interesting. Want to give a quick shout out to a few guys on Scott Benson's team. One in particular, Noah Dichter, 5-0. He only lost one set the whole season. Must have been to a really good player and all around just talented youngster. He's
4-0 if I'm looking at that correctly.
Yeah, but I think he's self-rated 4-0. He currently plays on a college team. Just to really, I played him. Brag, not humble brag. I was the one who took the set. Very pleased with myself. He is just a nice kid. He's not a kid. He's 20. He's a nice young man. He's a good player. Gives a shit. He wants to win. I could tell. And I'm not really ready for this stage of life yet. He was looking at me when we were having a somewhat competitive match. Like, this guy does not belong on the same court as me. He's too old. And I'm not ready to be that old yet to a 20-year-old, but I unquestionably am. We are. And it was old. A humbling but also amusing moment because, my brain's done developing, so maybe I can piss him off enough to steal this match.
No.
Not quite.
Just enough. Casey Black is a really underrated. I think he's one of those guys, if you go out and look, this guy's not that good. He just keeps winning. He wins at doubles. He wins at singles. If I'm building a 4-5 super team, he's probably on it because I don't think he's going to be a 5-0, but he's going to win 75% of his matches at 4-5. So he's a guy that I want to have on the team.
Yeah. That's just a really solid crew.
He's been around for
He's been
while
around
as
a long
well.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I see him at Hope Valley YMCA once in a while. Really good dude.
Scott Benson, who I believe is the founder of the Triangle Tennis
He
Facebook group,
is.
is another guy who, anytime I'm at a tournament and I see him playing, I always want to watch because he just,
Mhm.
I don't know what it is about his game. He always ends up in these like fantastic long 3-set matches. Him and Stuart Bible, I think it was a 2-setter that
Oh,
Stuart
yeah.
won tiebreak, but it like, you know, I thought that they went best of 3. It was electric.
Mhm.
It just drew everybody in. I think it's because he hits with pace, but doesn't miss very much. And you get like the points that break down because so many angles have been hit and somebody's off the court. You just
Mhm.
get good tennis when he's on a court.
Mhm. Yeah. And
I'd
just
also,
shout. Oh, go ahead, Mike. Yep.
I was gonna say I don't have a ton of experience in the 4-5, but Jackson Naftel is
Mhm.
awesome, and his brother Herman. I
Herman. Yeah.
think he might be.
He's a
I think
5-0, I think.
Yeah, I think he got
Yeah.
bumped up, but they
Mhm.
played 4-5 to doubles last year, and it
Yeah.
was. I warmed up with them in tri level, and I was like, these
Mhm.
dudes are insane. And I watched
Yeah.
a doubles match, and
Mhm.
just good dudes, great players. One of the
Mhm.
few non-East End folks that I recognize, and
Friend of the friend of the EBBs. They're
Sure.
good dudes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, respectfully, I have to correct you here. It's the EEBs, man. It's
Am I saying it wrong? Oh my god.
Maybe a little bit, just a touch. It's the East End boys, not the East
Oh my god.
Bend boys, right? I
Oh,
think
I
that's
have
your
been saying it
Indiana
wrong.
coming out.
I think it is.
You turn end into bend, which
Yeah.
honestly would work if we were Indiana based. When you go home next, the only thing I'll say about this is I think that there are more than enough players for a 6th or 7th team in 4-5. 5 teams is fine, but I think that there 3 of these teams had 9 guys. Granted, Team Hanauer, Matt, you were injured, so yes, we had 9, but only 8 were available. I think probably could shave a guy or 2 off of Team Anderson, Team Bird, Team Hanauer, and get a 6th team going pretty easily. But to do that, we need more folks to captain. And so if you're listening, you're thinking about captaining a team next season, do it. The players are there. There just needs to be one more captain. And also, I think a bunch of guys are going to get bumped too. So again, like if you're interested in captaining a 4-5 summer singles team next year, Jackson Cabell, there's lots and lots of opportunities to do so.
That, so there was 2 teams last year in this league. I believe there's only 2 or 3. Yeah, this is a big jump.
Crazy.
Yeah. This was a big jump, big improvement. But there's always room for more improvement.
Tennis player machine go burr more every day.
How many F5 teams are there?
Oh god,
I
didn't even pull 5-0 for this. Do you want to know?
Yeah. How many are there?
Oh jeepers!
Well, is 5-0 in the same spot that 4-5 was a couple years ago? Like like oddly small league that might get a larger.
Do you see a 4-5 singles?
Let's see.
I apologize. 5-0 singles? I don't see it on the.
I don't think there even was a 5. So actually, Matt, we could get a bunch of 4-5 guys and do a 5-0.
Why the fuck didn't we do that?
I think after the absolute beatings that we were taking this spring, and like for me, like at 4-0 last year, I had a very good record, got bumped.
Yeah.
Took I think 7 losses or 5 losses at 5-0, and it definitely it messed with my confidence. I think I feel prepared to do it this year, but after the spring, I was like, no, I need time off from 5-0. I got my ass kicked enough times for 1 year.
If this is the situation, then yeah, we should definitely do a team because then I think we would need a couple of 5-0s. There's some weird rule about one team; you have to have X number of 5-0s to like form. I forget what it is. It's really weird, but I think we should try and get a team if no one else is in there, because then you can go to states. Yeah.
If you're listening and you're a 5-0 and you don't have a summer singles team for 2025 yet, we got the captain for you and we got the team for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Gang, that is everything that we plan to recap today. If you like this episode, please let us know. We'll do it for Carrie and Raleigh. If you don't like this episode, hey, we probably won't. That's okay. It's totally cool. We want that feedback. But before we get out of here, Matt, it's time for the other game that hasn't yet swept the international community, but is sweeping at least North Carolina, and that is from Point A to Public Clay. What'd you bring us today?
I don't know.
Colts.
Staples.
Okay.
This is an easy one. Staples are used to connect oftentimes pieces of paper together. You know what public clay courts are used for? They're used to connect a community together, to connect adults to a healthy lifestyle and activity that's easy on their body while good for them.
Oh man, that was too easy.
This is a 1-to-1, baby. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting better too.
You really didn't have to stretch that much. Shoot.
Again, I just want to stress that dozens of cities in the United States, hundreds of cities in Europe and across the world have figured this out. I think that we can too. And hey, if you really think that you don't want them, there's other stuff that you care about more, totally cool. But like, this can happen if we give a shit and want it to happen. That's how democracy works. It's awesome. Just got to rabble rouse a little bit. Look at all the pickleball courts they're building because people wanted them and they showed up and they said they wanted them and now they got them. And that's exactly how it works with public clay courts. Not to oversimplify it, but like that really is.
No, that's how it works. Yeah. That's what Chris Moffat told. He said, basically just look at Piney. People just demanded it and they built it.
If you demand it, they will build it. And if they build it, people will play tennis there. Before we get out of here, Mike P., thanks so much for coming on today. This has been spectacular.
Yep.
Can we ask Mike P. our question? We ask all our guests?
Oh, I think we have to.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Mike P., what does tennis mean to you?
Oh man. I think it's important to be competitive in something as an adult. And to me, it's my main physical outlet. So to me, it is a way to get stress out, to get some like exercise. And I think if you have something running or something, that's probably hits the same thing. But I just feel like it's so important, whether you're competitive or if you think you're not. I feel like everyone is, whether they know it or not. And I think it's important to find that like outlet. And it's a whole lot healthier than Counter-Strike, though I was better at Counter-Strike than I am at tennis. But no, yeah, it's just important to be healthy, find a group of people that you can hang out with. I know, just a quick PSA. I think that there's a lot of folks that think there's a generational kind of male loneliness thing right now. And
there is.
If you got good friends that share a hobby, you make a group and whatever that is. I think we're blessed to have the East End folks. And as stated in old episodes, I think we're all here for each other on and off the court, family members of, good partners of as well. Yeah, and you cannot stress that enough. I'm glad that my short tennis career has put me here in the Triangle at this time. I think there's a lot of folks that are not lucky enough to have a group like we have. And it's invaluable, instrumental to my happiness as an adult. Yeah. And it's just been an absolute blessing.
Mike, thanks so much for coming on. This has been another episode of the Triangle Tennis Podcast. We hope you'll follow and have a great day.
Thank you.